Hello everyone, hope you found it doing great. Welcome to Elyas Tech channel. If you're new here, welcome and I'm so happy to see you all once again. Today I'm with one of the very important topic. It is very essential topic whether you're a technical person or not, or if you are working as a project manager, or if you're a network engineer, network architecture engineer, cloud computing engineer, cloud computing security engineer. Of course, this topic is dedicated for all of you. Today, the topic is two main security principles for cloud computing. These are very important. It took me a while to conclude my thought and opinion. I have done some research as well, and I hope you enjoy. And let's get ball rolling. What are the main security principle for cloud computing? Before I dive into that topic, I better to walk through the types or cloud computing models. As most of you already know, or if this page or module, or I can say the types of the cloud computing models is new for you, that is fine. I won't explain it, but not with more details. And here I try my best to take to just describe each platform the into nutshell, because our main focus is on the cloud security. When you have a plan to move your data to the cloud, overall there's a one, two, three, four. As you notice in here, we have for example, we have a package software, we have infrastructure as a services, we have a platform as a services, and we have a software as a services. Um, Therefore, if you have a plan to move to the cloud, from the security standpoint, most of the people are so worried about, is it safe to have to move our devices, to move our data to the cloud? Is it safe to have a cloud computing, or who else can see our operation in the cloud and so on? So that is why I don't want to go with the more with more details about the types of cloud. We have, for example, a private cloud. We have a public cloud. We do have a hybrid cloud as well. But overall, if yeah, we do have these all types of cloud. But first of all, you have to whether you're if you're a technical person, of course, you need to educate yourself with this kind of types of this kind of cloud environment. If the management, you probably need someone to help you from the technical department as well. But overall, if you look at in here, we have for example, package software. These package software, when you see this all orange, as the client-side responsibility, including application data, runtime, OS virtualization services, storage, and networking. So these are responsibility as it's the client responsibility. Means the company does not have any responsibility to take care of this stuff. So you're the person who built each and everything, including networking. See, networking from the security standpoint and storage. How many storage, like these are, we can say, a private cloud as well. But the reason which I'm explaining these all these four pillars is that when we move on, you will see that what I mean by explaining these all pillars as well. So infrastructure as a services, if you see that in here, it shows that application data, runtime, OS, and so on. So means the orange side is the client responsibility, but the blue side is the cloud computing service provider responsibility, virtualization, servers, storage, and networking. So in here, if you look at the networking, storage, servers, virtualization, it doesn't mean that when you run your server, it is safe. It doesn't mean that when you run your network, it is safe. It is safe, but you have to make sure that you have to fulfill the requirement. Most of the company, the standard and enterprise company, they mostly focus on the standard. They mostly focus on the layout. They mostly focus on the project requirement. because that is why I always prefer that if you are hiring someone as a project manager, that you have to make sure that he or she should be well aware about the technology. If not, then some of the data, it's not all of them, but probably your data will be in the threat, and there's a lot of issues. That's why we have to make sure that we are hiring the right person. Even from technical standpoint, if you come in here, platform as a services, application, and data. So the rest is the cloud computing responsibility. It doesn't mean that the company should they provide the platform. Remember that it's only platform. It doesn't mean, for example, if they provide a network, you can do this stuff. But what if you log into your uh, cloud console and allow someone inside your network, and eventually you blame the cloud computing? We're going to talk about this topic later. While I just need your attention. Software as a services is a kind of thing that the company provider, I mean the cloud computing service provider has this kind of responsibility from A to Z, from application, data, runtime, middleware OS, like operating system, virtualization, servers, storage, and network. These are the company responsibility, but it is based on which kind of platform you're looking for. Do you want to build from scratch and it doesn't want the company responsibility? Go with the package software. If you want, for example, if you just need a storage, network, servers, and virtualization, and you run your OS operating system, runtime, data, and application, so you probably need to go to infrastructure as a services. I don't want to talk about this topic with more details. Let's dive into what else is here. In here, cloud computing responsibility. Any cloud computing company, whether it is AWS, Amazon Web Services, Google Cloud, or Microsoft Azure. Infrastructure Google, infrastructure global network security. What does it mean? Their responsibility is to make sure that the global network is up and running. There's no issue, there's no error, there's no problem. For example, some of the cloud computing, they do have a fiber optic as well. They are running in some place where there's a lot of problem, or there's many, I can say, barriers that they are not able to run the for example, through the satellite. They can run a fiber because fiber is faster and reliable as well. So they just want to make sure that the overall the global network security is safe. Mean the tunnel that they have, the fiber connection that they have, there's no any interference, there is no any third party or second or third party company who having access to the same tunnel, to the same throughput, like if it's a kind of VPN. If anyone of you familiar about the VPN encryption, only the cloud computer, only the cloud computing company has a responsibility for that kind of activity. Configuration and vulnerability analysis. So that is why when they run their network globally, they do have a configuration and like we can say vulnerability analysis, that they want to make sure that there is no any third party attached, or there is no threat, there is no attack to their cloud platform. So this is the cloud computing responsibility, the company who provide the cloud computing for you. It doesn't matter whether you're having a contract with a private company who provide a private cloud computing. If you remember, I said we have a private cloud, we have a public cloud, and we have a hybrid cloud. So in here, a friend of mine, he said, oh, you know what? As far as the public cloud, I don't prefer to have my data in the cloud computing and the public cloud, because public cloud is not safe. But my suggestion is no, that doesn't mean it is different. It is different. It is different than what we have in the local area network. If you remember, we have a public folder, means everyone can add, remove, modify, execute, and so on. But in the cloud, public cloud, it doesn't mean that it is the same mechanism. It's not. It is the same analogy. It is different. Means everyone can access it. Those who are authorized, those who are have a contract with the company, those who are having a project in their company, then they are allowed to access the cloud computing, but not the all platform. So that is why I think it may require to learn more and research about the types of cloud computing. And here we have a compliance validation. They have to make sure, that's their responsibility, that the all equipment including the data center region, whether how many data center they have, and worst case scenario, backup, for example, backup system in case one region is get failed and they should move from one. So that's not our responsibility. Uptime is 100%, and they promise that there will be no issue. That is why, that is the demarcation benefit of the cloud computing, is that you can access your data from anywhere, and there is a zero downtime, mean you can access it from anywhere, because the cloud computing has changed from they do have a backup, a lot of things, a disaster recovery solution, so on. That's why the compliance validation is valid, and there will be no issue. Now I need your attention. What is our responsibility? The client side responsibility. Here's a very interesting topic, and I need your attention in here. If you're a technical person, and if you are you have been hired as a cloud security engineer, it's your responsibility to make sure and fulfill the requirement. For example, we create a user by the name of John. For example, yeah, by the name of John, and yeah, we created a user by the name of John, and that the contract was only for 3 months, and we forgot once he has finished his project, and after 3 months, if we didn't monitor, if we didn't review, the guys is still have access to the cloud services. Then if he got disappointed from your company, he may do some nasty things. So that is the thing that we have to make sure the blame doesn't go to the cloud computing or cloud service provider, because it is your responsibility. When you create a user, you have to modify it, you have to make sure, you have to make sure that which kind of permission you have to apply for the particular user. That's our responsibility. John was an example. Group. Here's very interesting, because if you create a group, for example, we have an admin group, we have, for example, a HR group, finance group. Each group, for example, each group does have content of more than 10 to 11, even say 100 or 200 user. If by chance, for example, as a, a person who hired for a short time, and we put them a member of the admin user, or for some reason he found access, and he can easily, if he got access to your computer and he changed his group from for example, finance or HR group to the IT group. An IT group is admin, they are a full power, and they can do anything. That's why monitoring is very important. Rules, any types of rules. For example, we have a password policy rules, like it should meet uh, the requirement, and policy and management. Monitoring is very important, because we have to monitor every day. Even here's my suggestion: we probably need to hire someone only for a specific monitoring, reviewing the logs, so on, because we have to make sure that we are in the right hand and the right person is accessing the right information. We can see authentication, authorization, accounting, triple A. So here's some basic stuff that I'm going to share with all of you, which is called enable MFA on all cloud account. So that's an interesting thing that really makes sense, because MFA is a stand for multi-factor authentication. Whenever you create a user, or whenever you create a user in the cloud platform, you probably need to enable MFA. Most of the cloud platform, including AWS, Google Cloud, Google Plus, or I can say Microsoft Azure, does come with the MFA. Nowadays, very popular as well. So better to enable that one in order to make sure that you're tracking every account from the accountability, so on. You're safe. UFT. What does UFT stand for? Universal we can see universal factor security. This is also one of the very interesting portion. It does come with some of platform. Mostly I noticed with the AWS, it does come with the universal second factor security key. You can put in the pen drive and a flash drive. When you plug the flash drive, the computer, then the user can easily access the console of the cloud computing. um yeah, rotate all your keys often. That's very interesting. Also, we can rotate the keys sometime, change the keys if you have a doubt that, for example, John was at home but someone was accessing his computer, or someone is accessing his client his computer or on the cloud computing, and he said, maybe if you think he has a doubt, so probably the better way is to change his password, and keep your eyes on that specific account to make sure that his account is not threatened and his account is not hacked. And top of that, we can say use tools such as IAM tools to apply appropriate permission. It's very interesting. IAM is stand for Identity and Access Management. This is it's a kind of tools. I can say that AWS does come this kind of tools. For example, user group policy, so on is coming with the IAM tools, and you can modify. You have to make sure and use that kind of tools. Some of the people, they just want to, oh, you know what, I just want to just take it easy, don't make it too complicated. But what is the problem? If you don't make too complicated, if your data has been leaked, if someone has used your data for their benefit, and later while they will regret. They will say, oh, I wish at the first day I took that kind of responsibility. That's why I think when there's a security concern, we have to be more serious, and we have to be more conscious uh, to meet the requirement. Analysis, access patterns, and review the permission. That is interesting. So review the permission, same as the analogy as I have mentioned about the John. You have to go through the John permission and see John account and see the permission, which permission the John has. If he is good, then fine. If it is not, you have to change the permission as well. See what else we have in here. Client-side responsibility. One of the live example that I'm going to share in here, I do have a picture. So with this picture, I want to clear with more that you have, and that's going to be very clear for you as well. So the client-side responsibility, client-side, inside and outside data trafficking. Data trafficking. It really makes sense. Guess how? Because we have, for example, in here, if you look at here, I have, for example, I have a web server which IP is 178.10.33.17. And here, if for example, client A want to access remote desktop. Client A is, for example, our developer. He want to get inside the server. He want to make some changes in the web server, and he said, oh, you know what? Do you mind to, for example, open 3389, which is RDP port, and I want to get inside the server. I want to make some changes. It's okay, we have to police, we have to traffic the data. And the next time, if we allow the port for a while, and if we don't track, for example, he said, I'm looking, for example, I want to uh, uh, have a activity in the server for 4 hours, and after 4 hours just terminate the request. So if you don't care about this kind of thing, what's gonna happen if someone for example, if client a computer threat and got hacked, and through client A computer, the hacker can easily get inside your web server, and they make some changes to their benefits. And I do have some prestigious information in my YouTube about, for example, DHCP subversion, ARP spoofing, ARP poisoning, or I can say DNS spoofing, DNS poisoning. You go ahead and learn that stuff as well. There's a lot of ways that the hackers use in order to access our main or root servers as well. So in here we have a client inside network security analysis. So one of the biggest problem that as a network engineer, it has been 14 years that I work in information communication technology. One of the biggest challenge, it's not a challenge, but the thing is that if we are not well aware of this kind of thing, then we are under trouble. Guess how? For example, if we create a virtual machine, or we can say overall we have a host machine and guest machine. Guest machine is that we create it inside the cloud, whether inside the virtual machine or inside the cloud. We can say guest machine. Inside the guest machine, for example, in here, web server is 178.10.33.17. But the private IP inside we have 12.11.1. Like this is the range of the network that we have inside the cloud. What if someone intentionally run another guest machine in our network, in our cloud network platform, and he is good to go? Because the problem is that, for example, if here is the client, this woman in here, if you look at the uh, 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 red circle sign, mean he built another machine inside our cloud platform, and he's able to ping, he is able to access the internet, he is able to do whatever he wants to do, because in the cloud environment we are using the share network resources. Don't forget that we are sharing the network resources, unless you are well aware of the network security. You can threat, you can protect, you can have rules and regulation through the firewall. Most of the cloud computing like service provider or cloud computing, including AWS, Google Plus, Microsoft Azure, does come with a firewall. You can add, remove, for example, inside to inside, from outside to outside, from outside to inside, from inside to DMZ, from DMZ to outside. You can track, you can do the analysis, you can block, you can terminate, you can eliminate, and you have to specify. There is a lot of stuff you can do, but that is why I thought it's better to make sure to have control of this kind of activity. This was a kind of live example, and that's it. Yeah, in here, I have mentioned that client logs monitoring. It's very, very important if you have an active directory in the cloud computing. So you probably need to check the logs more often to make sure that everything is right and there's no any other suspicious client or user which you have doubt, oh, where this guy come from, oh, how does it make sense that when the client was got inside this server, he's not supposed to access the web server. He, for example, he is from different department, and how he got inside this server and so on. Client weekly and monthly overall security reports. So this is the client side responsibility, that weekly and monthly overall all security report we have to have. Even if I have noticed some of the prestigious companies, some of the company who can afford, and they have a lot of project. It's not the small company, medium company, but those who have a lot of project, they hire a specific employee to they track, to monitor, to report for these kind of things. Even if they are not a technical person, the technical department, for example, IT department, can easily train them to how to collect the report, because you don't have to take any action, and they just need to collect the report and send it to the IT department. Then the IT department will review and take an action if required. Client rules and policy review. So the client rules, it's a client side responsibility to review the rules and policy. For example, if you remember, I say John is it's a contract wise, it was only for 1 year or for 6 months. So after that, whatever rule and regulation he had, we have to wipe it, we have to clean it, and we have to make sure that the John lock is clear and John account is lock, or we can say sometime we can say disable due to some responsibility. We have to hold this account and until we have to make sure that you haven't done anything wrong. Client side responsibility update and changes the list. For example, we have to the list that we have or report that we made, we have to make sure it's up to date, and every day we have to make sure that the right person is right. The main responsibility of the cloud, or I can say the cloud engineer or cloud security engineer, is to make sure that the right person is using the right information. I think I talked too much, it's 2 minutes, but all was useful. Believe me, it is not easy. I can say some of the topics, some of the uh, tutorials that I mentioned as a missing topic in the some of the university as well. It is. I think it was very helpful. I hope you think it was. I hope it was helpful as well. Okay, here's the way how to support Elyas Tech. Here is the shortest way where you can support my channel as well. Yeah, here's my channel. If you just type into Google, type Elyas Tech. Here's my channel. You can subscribe and click it. You can read about my channel, what is this channel all about, the place where you will learn and find the secret behind the technology, what no one tells you, such as artificial intelligence, virtual reality, computer science, computer networking, cybersecurity, robotic, all about the binary based on based on false and true, 0 and 1. Stay in my channel and I will find out how virtual is our reality, and so on. So I think simply subscribe my channel. This is as a appreciation. Okay, I hope every one of you have learned and enjoy this presentation. Uh, um, and the last but not least is to Stay safe, be brave, and of course, see you next time. And thank you for your time who watched the presentation. Have a good one, everyone.